So I think it was about 9 years ago that I first met Jade at a writing retreat. And I think it was just at the start of COVID. But I always remember we had like this mini writing assignment that we had to do, and then we had to read it and share it with everybody. And although I cannot remember exactly what she wrote, I always remember the feeling that I got from her, that there was this underlying power in this woman. And I really wanted to stay connected with her. And I didn't do very good on that promise, but that is why I brought her on the show today. Jade wrote a phenomenal book called The Nicest Bitch You'll Ever Meet. And this is a book that gives you permission to say what you're thinking and be okay with not being okay. So I'm going to have her come on the show and we're going to talk about the book, some of the experiences that she had writing it, and also what she hopes you get out of it. So let's dive in. Welcome to the Fox Talks Business Podcast. I'm your host, Tanya Fox, money mentor, business coach, and author. If you're a business owner who's been around the block but still feels stuck in the financial fog or hustling without getting real results, well, you're in the right place. Each week, I'm going to dive into money mastery, mindset shifts, and real-world strategies to help you grow and profit sustainably. You're going to hear unfiltered conversations, bold ideas, and practical, proven ways to start growing your business. So if you're ready to break past the plateau, make more, stress less, and have fun doing it, let's dive in. All right, Foxy listeners, I have one of my favorite people who I followed for a really long time, sat in a course with for a little while when books were just a thought in her head. But I love her mythology. I love the way she thinks. I love the fact that she wrote a book called The Nicest Bitch You'll Ever Meet, because it has become like my motto. And I'm so excited that there's merch to go along with it. But Jade, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
So I want to I want to get into so much because there's so much, because I know like some of your history of like being an entrepreneur. This isn't something that's new to you, but this is the first book that you ever wrote.
Correct.
So what made you want to write this book, and why The Nicest Bitch, which I totally agree with because I am one as well.
Yeah, that's exactly why there's so many of us. Okay, so why I wanted to write it? I wanted to write it about 5 years ago. I guess we are going to talk about that time frame.
That's okay.
Yeah, it was a long time ago I started writing it. And why I actually did it is because my whole life kind of burnt to the ground, and I made something called the Jade List. So if you read the book, it's in there, and it was something that was on there. So I wrote it for me. I can't even believe anybody's reading it. So,
but I think it's something that connects with people, because I think, especially as women, we get stuck in this idea that we have to create this perfect facade on the outside. We have to be able to handle anything. We have to, be able to carry the backpack, and it costs us so much, right? There's this hidden fee that we keep paying, thinking that, we need to. And, in reading your bio and stuff, like, I think it was, around 45 when I started turning 45, people were like, do you hate the fact that you're getting older? And I'm like, I'm loving the fact that shit can come out of my mouth that might not get me punched anymore. And the older I get, the more I am like just leaning into that. I'm like, I think old women have such a superpower to be able to say stuff and have people go, that's just grandma.
yeah, totally. I know. I always say when I get older, well, older than I am, I'm going to wear bright red lipstick and a huge hat so no one can come in my bubble.
And it just
like,
blocks everybody.
I just. But yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think that's the other reason why I kind of put it on paper, because a lot of people come to me and ask me things. And I am the one that just says it how it is. I've kind of always been like that. And I think more women need more permission to do that. And more women need to stand beside each other. Like, it drives me crazy how women, like you just said, there's like this, we paint this picture, right? We're hashtag blessed all over Instagram. Meanwhile, the real text messages you got at 4 in the morning was like, I don't know where my husband is and I hate my life and my kids are driving me crazy. But hashtag blessed, our family went to the zoo.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's like it's this weird dynamic of people like wanting to not show that there's any flaws to stuff because it's true. I mean, I've had numerous conversations with people that they're like 6 figures and they're like, I don't know how I'm going to make my mortgage payment this month. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Like,
Yeah. Just
people are going to find out.
Yeah. When you're doing your Instagram posts like beside the dumpster.
Yeah,
Like,
like hashtag blessed, no home. Like, I'm like, I don't understand this. But I
I
think
don't
it's like,
either.
I feel like it comes from this feeling that we always have to put on this persona of, some type of perfection in the life, and that we are not allowed to, say that we're hurting or that we're failing or that we need help. We're supposed to
Yeah.
be able to figure it all out.
Yeah. And I hate that. I hate that. I learned that the hard way through COVID, you know.
Right.
Everybody in business was like, "Oh no, we're doing great. We're making it. We're," and I was like, "How the hell are they doing great? Like,
Yeah.
I am not doing great."
Yeah.
And I don't know. It is really crazy. I do think women do it a lot more. I also feel like we're trained to be nice little girls, which I think that you should be nice and I think that you should mind your manners and stuff, but you don't need to be a doormat. And I talk about that in the book because there's kind of two scales, I feel like, and you're a doormat or you're a bitch. So if you stand up for yourself or you say something, then you're the bitch, and if you do nothing, you kind of get walked all over and you have all this resentment. So I think the biggest reason why I put it on paper is because I wanted to kind of challenge the narrative of being a bitch.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's so true. I think there's so many people out there who can like remember a time that they were called emotional, which, I haven't always been an outspoken person, but that dropped a lot of filters for me because I was like in my head and then out loud went, did you want me to show you emotional? Because this is not it. Like I can show you the crazy, but if you
Yeah,
think this is it, you better buckle in because you're not even like, but that's the thing, right? It's that dynamic that you're up against where you're given all of these sort of titles. So it's easier to just stay quiet.
yeah, yeah. Nobody wants to rock the boat and hurt anybody's feelings, and I don't know. I think it's crazy. Like nobody talks about stuff, and I talk about it in the book too. Like even family, business. There's like sayings, you can never cut off your own family, their family, and I'm like, bullshit. Like if it's not good and it's toxic, then you got to walk away from it, which sucks, but it's part of it. It's the same with business, it's the same with friends. And I don't think that we should be wearing a mask. Actually, I think the first two sentences of the book is, I was wearing a mask and at tables that I should have been fucking flipping over.
Yeah. I love that. I absolutely love that.
Like, why am I sitting at this table? I don't even want to be at this table. So,
Was it a defining moment for you that you were just like, I'm done?
yeah. Yeah, I actually got really kind of sore actually. My body was telling me before I would give. I mean, listen, I'm a Taurus, so like a little stubborn, like not like a lot, but just like a little.
Yeah, I'm Taurus
And
too.
yeah. Yeah, so we're like a little stubborn, but uh, so I wasn't really ready to give up. I kind of dragged it, and it's another, it's a mistake I made. I dragged it on for too long, and my body is the one that told me. I ended up with two herniated discs. Like, who does that in their
Yeah.
early 40s? Like, I'm not 65. And it was
Yeah.
kind of like a rude awakening, right? Like, if you're not going to smarten up, the universe is going to put you on your ass. And that's kind of where the list came from. I was, you get so wrapped up and busy. And I feel like we don't find time to do the things that we actually love to do. There's always a reason, right? The kids need something or work or blah, blah, blah. And so I made that list and it was on there. And I was like, I need to finish this. I don't want to I don't want to be old with my big hat and bright red lipstick and not have finished any of my things.
Yeah. So tell
So,
us a little bit more about the Jade List and how people can use this themselves.
so I think that you've got to make a list of all the things that you always say you don't have time for.
Right.
And then, I mean, for me, what I did is I wrote everything out. Like I was almost done my real estate course. There was a whole bunch of stuff on there, and I realized what I was willing to spend time on now that I had more time. And some of that stuff shouldn't even have been on my list. But
Right.
then you're like stressing out, right? That you didn't. So I'll use the real estate course as an example. I was, like kind of beating myself up a bit. Like, why haven't I finished it? Why haven't I done the exam? But really I didn't want to do it. So I just took it off the list. Right. Like, why am I being such an asshole to myself?
Yeah. But it's true. We do that often, right? I started this, so I'm just going to keep it on the list and I'm going to pass it from list to list to list to list.
Yeah.
And then 20 years later, you're like, this has been on a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
like it's okay to just go, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yes. Yeah. So that was a big part of it. And then just finishing the things. Like finishing the book was, I just told you my new favorite word is bananas instead of saying crazy because I don't know. But it is bananas to like actually finish something that you wanted to finish.
Yeah.
So
Well, and it's a really long process too, right? Like not only writing it, but actually like I don't know if you struggled with this. I struggled trying to find a publisher that stopped trying to change it. They're like, you need to be a little bit softer. You need to and I'm like, no,
yeah.
I don't. That's not the purpose of like you're missing the point of
Yeah.
this.
Totally, right? Like I'm writing it for me, and if other people read it, good for them. And if they get something out of the book, that's amazing. But if anybody gets anything out of it, I think I'm just like I put my face on the cover of this flippin' thing, which is crazy for me. I hate my picture taken. But if anybody who knows me knows I didn't do it for me. I did it to make a point. Like just if you want to write a book and publish it.
Yeah.
Who cares? Like that book needs edits and stuff. And like you just said, I had an editor say, well, we need to fix them and redo it. And no, we don't. I'm not looking to be on Oprah's book club. I I did it. I did it for it's okay that it has mistakes. People should do things even if there's mistakes or they fall down or, you know, just do it. Do the things for you.
Well, and I think that's the biggest permission, right? Like that was my biggest thing of going, I'm not expecting that, because they would say, is this going to stand up? And I went, to what? Like if somebody picks up this book 10 years from now and goes, do you think the same? I really hope my answer is no.
Yeah,
Like
totally.
some stuff might be, but I hope there's other stuff that I'm like, oh, there's an easier way to do this. Just like when I wrote the book, it was because I found easier ways from, 20 years before that. Like but I think people get scared and go, well, no, because what if my view changes or what if it's not the same? And I'm like, fantastic. Then you grew. Like that's supposed to be
Yeah.
a good thing. But I think it's, yeah, we get stuck in our head that, oh, I write this and then I have to want, because I used to get asked that a lot. I don't know if you did, like, are you excited? Like, are you trying to get like a New York Times bestseller? I'm like, what? It's not fiction. What? No. Like
Yeah.
I don't care. Right. And then they're like, well, what about like an Amazon bestseller? And I was like, did you want me to tell you how that actually works?
Yeah, because all
That
you gotta do is get all your friends to buy it and
Yeah.
ta-da.
Right. Like, and I was like, that was like a curtain thing that was open, but they're like, no, 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 no. It's at the day, on the day that you release. And in your category, if you have the most sales, then you're the bestseller. And I'm like,
Yep.
so if I just pick like a Tuesday where nobody's buying shit on Amazon, they're like, yeah, pretty much. And I was like, oh, well, all right. Like, right. It was like the facade of that just kind of really broke for me. And then
Yeah.
even with some of the other like best-selling lists where they're like, yeah, but usually a large publishing company will purchase a lot of books and they'll purchase 60,000. And I was like, so it's a game.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it
I'm
is.
not interested. Okay. So
It's
nobody's actually reading the book and going, I got a lot out of this. Right.
yeah, totally. It's the whole, like, hashtag blah, like, Instagram
Yeah.
posting, right? Like, why are you doing that? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
bestseller, like right. And it's funny too because I always said too, I remember being on an interview and people saying like, do you consider yourself an author? And I said, well, I mean, I have the title because I did write a book and I spent a lot of time on it, and I am a little bit of a snob or a bitch with it when I see other people who come and they're like, "Oh, I'm an author," and I'm like, "What did you write?" And they're like, I wrote this like journal or whatever," and I'm like, "We're not the same type of author." Right. Like, and I'm thinking
True
it
though.
took me 2 years of like writing and like I wrote a lot of words. I didn't just like photocopy a page. Does it make them any less of an author? No, but I also don't consider myself in the same category as a fiction author. I
Yeah,
consider them above me because there's a lot more work I just wrote what was in my head, right? I knew
totally.
this stuff. I wrote it down. I made it kind of make sense. Doing a storyline and keeping all of the characters straight, I can't even do that in my own life, let alone trying to
No.
do it on paper. Like, do you find that people were sort of had that question for you when you wrote a book, like had all of these other expectations? Meanwhile, you're like, I'm done. I checked
Yeah.
this off.
I opened the box and held the first book in my hand and text my brother and said, fucking check. Like,
Yeah.
it's done. To me, it's done now. Like,
Yeah.
if anything happens with it, cool.
Yeah.
But that was not the plan.
Yeah. So
I
what
just,
has come out of it
it's
since you've written it?
so many bananas. We had to do up a website. And the social media and stuff, like, there's been so many people have reached out. Even when we went on a trip, there were some people that we're friends with now on Facebook who have reached out, and it's pretty cool though. But I even have people like my like professionals I work with when in my other businesses, and they're sending me emails and telling me how like this is helping them, or they're laughing through it, or they can totally relate, or which is awesome. I mean, I hope if anything, like I said, they put something on their list and they do it.
Yeah.
Like, don't be scared.
So I know you kind of had written this for yourself, but obviously there's still a part of us that we hope one person
Yes,
reads
yeah,
it
I do hope
beside
it
our
does.
significant others.
Yeah,
I don't think he's ever read my book, which I'm fine with.
I'm
Um,
confident mine hasn't either. It's
yeah, I'm
fine.
like, it's okay. I don't like it when he comes around my stuff anyway.
Don't touch my stuff.
Don't touch my stuff. I don't, it's fine. You don't have to, like,
Yeah,
people always ask me, does he listen to your podcast? I'm like, no, and it's fine because he listens to me all the time. Like, why?
yeah,
Don't say that, because then if he does something, I have to listen to it, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't want to do that. But, and I know you wrote the book for yourself, but for other people reading it, what is it that they're going to get out of it? Like, what was your goal
I
or what
think
has happened?
I think they're getting almost like a permission slip. They're kind of seeing someone like who's kind of stepped out, which I think a lot of women are starting to do a bit more. But it's yeah, it's about me, and it's considered like a memoir, I guess. But I also think it's the truth. There's not a lot of fluff in that book. It's pretty to the point, like me. So I think that's what most people are getting out of it. I think it's kind of building up some confidence to kind of be told too, like, if you're called a bitch, do you really care?
Right.
Why does it matter? And even people who I know are, unfortunately they are kind of doormats, but it's kind of helping them find their spine again. So
And for you, like when you kind of hit that point where you were like, okay, something's got to give. I need to stop caring about this. Was that a hard thing for you? Because
yeah,
obviously you had those moments where you were living in that doormat phase for a long time.
totally. Yeah, I felt like I was an autopilot. It was really hard. And I think, people kind of had their own opinions on burnout and stuff, but nobody talks about, like you said, the person that posts, like, I made six figures, but they don't talk about all the crap it took to get there, and the fact they can't pay their mortgage. Like, so there's a lot of stuff in there that kind of helps, maybe not helps, but talks about the middle part. Nobody talks about the
Right.
middle.
Yeah.
So when you crash and burn, and people say, you just got to get back up, and or post, well, I got up and look at me now. But what about like the ugly snot crying in the shower, and not wanting to get off the couch, and yelling at your husband for no reason? Like you're just
Yeah.
mad at the world, and like there's a lot of ugly in there, and it's really hard to fall and get back up. People make it sound so easy.
Well, and I think it's the looking back, right? Like it's almost like we forget what that was when you
Yeah,
come out on the other side, right? Like it's easy to be like, oh, this is great. But when you are that person who's like, why is everybody else seeming like they're succeeding around me and I can't make this work? Because I think we've all gone through that at some point in our life of, I
yeah,
know I have, of being like, God, why is this so easy for everybody else? And
yeah,
forgetting that it's not. The
yeah,
100% is not, right? Because
totally.
that it could very well not be true what I'm seeing or what I'm hearing, because it was the same thing. Like we had a business going through COVID was wretched and people were like, it's fine. I'm like, no, it's not fine. It's
Yeah,
not okay. Like this is ridiculous. Like we're like we're in the pits here. What are you talking
yeah,
about? Like,
totally.
you know
Yeah,
let let's talk about how much you gave up. Like, yeah, I'm surviving, but I'm not going to come out of this clean, and I'm not going to be like, oh, that was rough.
yeah,
Like
because like it
we're
wasn't.
still
It was.
recovering.
Yes, yes, exactly. A lot of small businesses are still recovering, and some
Yeah.
of them didn't. Just had to, like us. We just it was too much. Like it was. I was exhausted, like totally
Yeah.
exhausted, and yeah, and you still get people who are like, "Oh, I can't believe you closed that one business, and I can't believe you." And I'm like, "What do you?" It's because I even say it in the book. Until you sign the front of a paycheck, not just the back of one, shut up.
Yeah.
Like, stop it.
Well, and I think that's, women are probably the worst for that, right? I
Mhm.
remember, closing a retail store and people be saying, but it doesn't make any sense. And I would still get it years later. People would be like, we need a craft store in town. And I was like, you fucking had one for
Yeah.
six
That you
years
never supported except
that you
asking
never
for donations.
yeah. And then, and it was like, no, but I didn't close, I didn't open it to please you. It was because it was something that I wanted to do, and I didn't close it to please you. It was because
Yeah.
I was done. And I realized that, for me, I've lost a customer service filter that is crucially important in retail. Like I
Yeah.
was starting to just tell people where to go, because I just couldn't do the stupidity anymore, right? And it's like
Yeah.
the few that ruin it for the many, but the few were really driving me freaking crazy. And I
Yeah.
think I through going through that experience, I definitely learned my lesson of like, I'm never going to judge. Whatever reason you have for either staying open or for closing is your own, because there's a lot more that goes into it than just what's written on paper. It's the emotional toll that businesses take. It's the toll to your family. It's all of those things that we feel like we can't talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm actually in the process of writing a second one now, and it's just about
Oh,
business.
okay. About like, tell us about it. What can you divulge? This one was so good. I want to hear about this other one.
Well, it's just all about like just the nicest bitch you'll ever meet in business, because there's a lot of stuff that I learned the hard way because nobody wants to talk about the hard stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so you don't really have like a lot of people you can count on to like, go back and forth and figure out how to get through things and what they did. And basically it's gonna be a lot of the mistakes I made.
Yeah.
It's not going to be one of those. I feel like there's a million and one books out there or programs that tell you how to run the best business and what you should do. But there's not a lot of people coming up front and saying, I really sucked at like managing like, over 30 employees, not my jam.
Yeah.
I definitely learned that the hard way. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that permission to, and I've said this a lot over the years, is that success doesn't have to look like anybody else's, right? Like I
Yeah.
remember the years where I was like, oh, I want to make like in the millions and have all of this stuff. And then when you get to that point and you're like, this sucks. Like I'm responsible for a
Yeah.
lot of people's lives. And I shouldn't even be responsible for my own sometimes. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
and the work that, that kind of goes into it. And also just like in changing in your life. And I don't know if you felt like that too. It was like my idea of success changed from like money to time. When I started having a family, time was more of a currency to me, to, you
Yeah.
know, to be able to be with them. And then also making those mistakes, and but being okay to admit and go, you know, because I was the same as you. I would see a bunch of books like how to make six figures. And I'm like, what about four? How about four? Can you just teach me to get to four a month? Like, Jesus, you know, like here's how to
Yeah.
make, you know, $20,000 a month. And I'm like, what? Like,
Yeah.
why doesn't anybody? And it's almost like there's like a fear out there that if I talk about that, it makes me less than, you know,
Hmm.
or if I admit that that's like, that's how you get there. You
Yeah.
know, like nobody skipped over that.
Yeah. Well, and I think all those books, like you said it too, success is different for every person. So
Yeah.
I don't need a manual on how to be successful. Um, I need to know what success looks like to me. And then
Yeah.
I need to figure out, I think you also have to kind of go backwards, which is one thing that I processed a lot over the last year. And I've seen it lots, like even with the kids, which I call my chickens, um, which is another sidebar. My editor wanted me to change it because chicken means scared. And I was like, no, it doesn't. It means my chickens. And she's like,
It
you got
means
to
a
change it. And
chicken.
I was like, I ain't changing it.
You know, there's an actual animal called a chicken.
Right? Yeah. Anyway, even talking to them though, like they've got so many options out there in the world, and they're like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to do. And we were all sitting around the fire a while ago, and I said, have you guys ever stopped to just write down what you don't want to do?
I
Like
love
instead
that.
of,
Yeah.
right? And I think I did a lot of that over the last year. And I don't want to manage a bunch of staff. I don't want to do it. So I'm not going to do it. So I think it's figuring out what success looks like for you. Like you just said, time, um, whether it's four figure, whatever it is, like you
Yeah.
got to figure it out for you. There's no book that's going to teach you how to figure that out. You got to figure it out. You need a piece
Yeah.
of paper and a pen.
Well, and I think just having that permission that it can look however you want it to look, like it doesn't, you know, and I always say, "Oh, are you looking to invest?" Like anytime somebody would be
Yeah.
like, "I think you should do this." Oh, perfect. Our investment starts at, and I would pick a number, $100,000. Did you want to do that in a cashier's check? And they're like, I don't have that money. And I'm like, then shut up. Like then you have no say. Like if you're
I'm
if
going to use that.
like if you have no skin in the game, stop thinking you can have
Yeah.
an opinion. Like, you know, that old
Yeah.
saying, like, if I wanted your opinion, I would give it to you. Like, unless you're putting
Yeah.
money in, I'm
Totally.
not asking for your permission.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's like, yeah, that's kind of behind all of it. And I get asked a lot about business stuff. So I'm gonna put it out there. I was actually talking to my accountant about it, and I just said, nobody talks about like the rough stuff. And when things got rough, like she sat on the phone with me, and we actually both were in tears when we
Yeah.
decided to close the door on the one business. And that was like the most, I don't know, like reassuring to just have someone who is, she didn't need to be there for me. Like, it's not like we were just like friends or anything. She was a professional, and she told me some stories about some of the crap that she's been through. And, it didn't make me feel better that she had been through crap, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
she could relate to me.
Yeah.
And I think we need a little bit more of that, because this whole Instagram filter lifestyle crap is bogus.
Well, and I think, you know, I'm surprised that it takes people so long. I remember going to like Shoppers, we're both in Alberta, but
Yeah.
Shoppers Drug Mart, and a lady being like coming up to me. Well, lady, she was young.
Yeah.
She was probably 30, but she was young, almost
Yeah.
50. She was young. And she was like, "Oh my God, I wish I could be as brave as you." And I'm like, with, sorry, with what? And she was like leaving the house with no makeup. And I'm like, with my face. You think I'm brave for leaving with my face? This is literally, that's not brave, sweetie. That's not, that's just living. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I was just like, what a weird concept that you feel that coming out with my own face, which God gave me and I've been growing for a long time, is considered brave. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, no, I think you're brave for leaving your house with makeup all of the time. I can't tell you how much freedom this gives me. Like,
Oh
No,
man.
no. But it's, and I feel that, in saying that story, the more I myself started to admit when I needed help, or starting to ask for it, or starting to just admit when I was in the sticky middle, I started to like draw those people who had the empathy, who had the experience,
Hmm.
who almost were like saying, thank you for giving me permission. And I felt like my group grew of people who I could truly have conversations with. Did you find the same thing? Like when you started admitting what you were feeling or doing, what you were going through at the time, that the honesty and sincerity in people started coming out more?
Yeah, I definitely feel like my circle is a lot different now. That's
Yeah.
for sure. And and even if you have, whatever you want to call it. What did that girl say about your face? The guts?
That I was brave.
Yeah, brave. Even if you're brave enough to speak up and say, things are kind of hard. Um, I think you also need someone on the other side of that. The right people on the other side of that will talk to you about it. They won't just say, oh, it'll get better, or yeah, it's hard for everyone, or you don't know what hard it like.
Yeah.
They're not your people.
Yeah. You haven't had hard until you've had this. And it's like,
Right?
well,
Uphill both ways, blah blah
yeah.
blah.
You're like, oh, my heart doesn't, it's not a contest. Just
Exactly.
how
That's
success
exactly it.
isn't a contest, the other side shouldn't be a contest.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I definitely have I have a really good group of women, and I feel like I'm reconnecting with, like, including yourself, reconnecting with more women that I wish I would have made more time for,
Yeah.
instead of getting wrapped up in the everyday. Like, you kind of get lost in it, and it's pretty crazy how you almost forget who you are.
Well, and I think, you get to a point, and I feel like I cycle through this a lot where I get to the point where the duties become my identity, like my to-do
Mhm.
list becomes my identity. And I forget, like, I'm like, God, I forgot. I was just saying this to my husband the other day. We had gone to a wedding on the weekend, and we were sitting at a table of people I didn't know. And I was just like, I don't care. I don't know these people. So I was like telling stories, and some of them were not appropriate.
Yeah.
Um, but I left and I said, you know what? It's been such a long time since I've left somewhere and not went, was I too much? Like, did I talk
Yeah.
too much? Did I tell, like, right? Like, I didn't have that. And I was like, it's been such a long time. Like, I've forgotten that. And like leaving and having them, like, the one lady was like, oh my God, it was so much fun to sit with you. You're just hilarious. And I was like, I miss that ego boost. And I
Yeah.
miss not like being apologetic about getting it.
Yeah. And all you were doing was being yourself.
I was just being myself. But I mean, there was a point where people were laughing, and I'm like, all right, let's play to the audience. Like, I kind of become the comedian, and I'm like, let's see how far we can push this. Like, right. But I was having a good time, and I forgot what that like felt like, because again, I got stuck into the to-do list and making sure I was checking everything off. And like, I lost my personality. Like, I lost the
Yeah.
things that make me kind of shine and make me happy and make me memorable
Yeah,
to, to
totally.
people. And maybe she'll never remember that. I don't know. She was pretty drunk, but we had a good time.
Yeah, I bet you she's still thinking about you.
And it's not. I'm still thinking about her and like some of the
Yeah,
funny stories that she had. And I just felt like it was that moment where we both got to share. And there was like some stories that we had that were, they were harsh. They were infused about people in our family that had cancer. And so we were talking about some heavy topics, but in like a light thing. And I felt a weight off of my shoulder. And,
yeah,
and I thought, these are the moments that I forgot about, which I thought was so like, I loved that this conversation that we're having, because I think when we allow that, not only do we take weight off of our shoulders by saying, hey, this is kind of what I'm going through, it also helps somebody else, because I think
yeah,
it gave also her permission to go, yeah, that really sucked. Like
yeah,
that it, it wasn't fun. There were some funny moments, but yeah, that was, that was rough. That was a rough time in my life,
yeah,
and be able to kind of move on from it.
yeah, yeah, I totally agree. And we need more of that. Like, we need to stop competing, whether
Yeah.
it's for success or failure or whatever. I don't know why women are competing so freaking hard against each other. Like, we're almost all going through something in the same. So,
Yeah. And I think, I hope for other people, I think that age, it's so funny. I had said at this wedding that we were at, they said, oh, I always say like 5 years younger. And I'm like, I go 10 years older.
Yeah.
I'm going to be 50 next year. I would rather tell people I'm 60 because I am 100% guaranteed a compliment.
Yeah.
Like, because people will be like, oh, seriously? You look
You look so
fantastic.
good for your age.
Right. Whereas I feel like if I were to go back 10 years and tell people, oh, yeah, no, like I'm 40, then they would be like, oh, that's nice. Like, and be like, she has not aged well. Right. Like, why would you go younger? Like, go older and
I don't
guarantee.
want to be younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And guarantee a compliment. I'm like, it is like such a superpower, I think, to get,
Yeah.
not only do you get wiser and like you had said, my fuck jars are just, it's empty. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like that, right? There's a lot of stuff that I would like freak out about, or I would like really question, like people thinking that, I'm a bitch or ever thinking that about me. And now it's more like a badge of honor where I'm like, thank you. I can be. Yes,
Yeah. Totally.
absolutely.
I know.
Just
I always say that's the nicest thing anyone said to me all day today.
yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of that going around. But I hope that it starts to change. I've seen a lot of people who follow just like my social media,
Right.
and their social media is starting to get a little more spicy and sassy, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
Like, and all I did was put my middle finger up in a few pictures. Like, it's not like there's, you know, anything
But I
crazy.
think it's that moment that takes people aback, that they go, oh, like somebody's owning this. It doesn't, that doesn't have to be a bad word. That doesn't have to be, a super bad gesture. Like, you can take stuff however you want to, like the word chicken, right? Like, it can mean scared to you, and it can just mean a farm animal to somebody else. And it can mean like,
Yeah.
oh no, it's just my kids. Like, it's my herd, my
Yeah.
whatever, right? It doesn't have to be, something that's bad. I had seen something the other day. We'll see if this gets bleeped out in the other one. I hope it doesn't, but somebody somebody had called a girl that I don't know her, I was just standing near her, but they had called her a cunt. And she was like, thank you, I am delightful and people do want to come to my warm place. And I was like, holy crap. Like, she just totally diffused the situation. Like, she was like, right, like, I don't know,
Yeah.
you could take it as an insult. Like,
Oh
it
my
just,
God.
I think it gave like my brain, my subconscious, permission to go, we get to narrate how we accept anything that people call us.
Yeah.
Right? You can
Because, like, why
change,
do you care? Why
you
do you
can
care?
decide to change that narrative and take it however you want, right? It's that whole
Mm.
thing of like being offended. Like, it's
Yeah.
nothing happens to you if you get offended. Like, you don't go home and go, my leg
Yeah.
fell off yesterday because I was offended. Like, nothing comes of it. Absolutely
What?
nothing.
This is the best. Also, we need to find that girl and be friends with her.
I know. Like, I was just like, I remember just watching her
Single
walk away
people.
and being like, oh my God, I 100% need to use that line. That was absolutely phenomenal. But it was just like, she was just like, I'm not going to take offense to it. And like,
No.
I don't even know what led up to it, but that other person was pissed off. And the funny thing is I'm watching the person who had called her that so angry. And I'm sure it ruined her entire day. And she just like walked away from it. Like,
Yeah.
she was just like, la la la. And then she was chatting with somebody else. And like, it did not bother her. And I thought, that is like, she has probably no idea that that was such an impact to me. But it was such a pivotal moment for me to go, God, I forgot that I can just choose not to be upset about
Yeah.
something. Like, I could be like, you're not going to ruin my day, but thanks for coming out.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
said,
So,
and just move on with it. Like, you don't have to internalize what other people think of you.
yeah. It's really, there's like that old cheesy saying where it's like, it's none of your business what other people think of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's,
Which is so true, right? Like,
yeah,
it's
because I really don't care. I know I've been called, I think actually I put that in the book too about, this girl said to me, like, she was super mad too, like just trying to pick an argument and just said, you're so insane. And I said, can you be more specific? But I'm sure like she's probably still mad about it. But
and it's
I'm like,
become a
that's
great line for you.
I'm like, it's really vague. Like, I don't,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think it's, oh, great, thanks. Like, I don't, yeah, like, I love it when people are go, God, you're weird. And I'm like,
Yeah. You're like, I know.
thanks. I don't want to be normal. Like, nobody
Yeah.
remembers normal.
Yeah.
Like,
You
I
say that
can't
to my
name
kids
one.
all the time.
Yeah, I can't name one person in my life who was normal. Like, that
Yeah.
they're not memorable.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
So you've got this book that's out. You've got some like great merch. I just love the fact that we can walk around and nobody's in tank tops that says the nicest bitch you'll ever meet. There's like a group where I'm like, we need to have all of these together in
Yeah.
our group.
I agree.
And then you're writing the second book now. What else is on the horizon for you?
I don't know. I keep saying that I'm gonna start doing a podcast, but I'm terrified of it. Except here I am, as I
Yeah.
said, this is my first time being on one. So I don't know, just kind of putting it out there again slowly.
Yeah. And I think, 2018 was when I started this podcast.
Yeah,
And I probably went quite a while of like having like low numbers. And then I was like, I don't really care like who listens.
yeah,
And I would get all of things like, you only have like one person who's watching on YouTube. And I'm like, yeah, it's my mom. Like she
yeah,
watches, she watches every YouTube episode because that's how she listens to it. Like, and I was
yeah,
like, I don't really care because I think it's like you writing the book. I think when you do something that's just for you, that's what makes the
mhm,
difference. And that's always my advice when somebody's like, I want to start a podcast. I was like, don't script it, don't think about it, just have conversations with people or just talk
yeah,
about stuff that you're interested and put it out there and somebody will find it. Because the beginning, I did the whole scripted thing. I would write out, I would send people questions and be like, there's 6 questions that we would ask. And inevitably at in the middle of every interview, I'd be like, oh, tell me about this. Like, right. Just like when you
yeah.
were like, I wrote another book and I was like, let's talk about that. Right. Like I think there's so many people in the world. Don't tell me you can't find an audience for something. And even if it's an audience of one, that could be the life that just needs to be changed.
Yeah. Well, and I think I'm gonna try and do it. I'm not really scared about doing the podcast or that. It's me. It's
Yeah.
the longest part about getting this book published was literally getting my picture taken.
There's always that one weird thing, right?
I know.
I
And
get
so
that.
many people are like, "Oh, you're so pretty. Like I'm sure I look like I love being in front of the camera, but I freaking hate it.
Yeah.
Like I hate it."
Yeah. Me was the social media. They're like, you have to get out there and talk about it. I'm like, no, people find it. They find it.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. I know. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it really is. But I'm glad you did it because I think it's an important one.
Same.
And we're gonna have all of the links obviously where you can go and not only find the merch, which
Yeah.
is awesome, but also to have the book, to read it, to even just give yourself permission to be okay to say what you think.
Yeah.
Um and be okay with the fact that some people aren't gonna like it, and that's okay. That's not your problem.
It's not. It's a them problem. It's not a you problem.
I love that. So tell us, where's the best place if people are like, I want to know more about this woman. I want to search for her more. I want to be in her aura more. Where's the best place for them to go and
Um,
stalk you?
uh, the website or social media. So Jade Stadnick. Um, yeah, .ca. Or I think that's my Instagram too. It's just Jade Stadnick.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, we'll make sure we have those links. Thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing everything. It was just a delight, and I can't wait for the next one. So I'm gonna have you back on when that one releases.
I can't wait.
I'm so excited to have had Jade on the show. As I said a couple of times, we connected in, just a writing group. And of course, I've stalked her and followed her for many years on social media, just watching everything that she's doing kind of quietly in the background. But I was really excited when she finished this book, not only because I love the book. There was a lot of stories in there that I too was like nodding my head along with, going, yes, I totally get that. I totally know what that feels like. But I think it's just permission to, think of yourself however you want to. And like Jade said, you don't have to take anybody else's opinion and you don't have to make it your reality. And I think that's so important sometimes for us to remember, especially as women, because we take a lot of hats and think that we need to wear it forever, and we need to be the strongest, and we need to be the best, and we need to shoulder the load. And sometimes it just takes somebody like Jade to remind you that you don't. You can ask for help. You can put the bag down. You can walk away. And so I would love to hear. First of all, I want you to go to the links in the show notes. I want you to order the book. I want you to read it. And then I want you to tell me what your biggest takeaway was from it. And a couple of weeks after this episode airs, I'm going to share some of my aha moments that I got from the book, but I want to hear yours first. So make sure that you head to the show notes or wherever it is that you're watching this, click on the link, get your copy right away. You can get it on Amazon, no matter where you are, and do your homework by reading the book. And make sure that no matter what it is that you're doing today, you also take time to have fun. Because as I will always say, if you're not having fun, why are you doing it?